Pete will give a little background on Joe's.
Thanks, Mike. I think as everybody knows, Mike was my freshman roommate. He's a longtime professional investor, and now a golfer and a traveler and whatever else he does in his spare time. But he was on Lehigh's Endowment Fund Committee for a number of years, so he's done an awful lot for Lehigh. Joe was gracious enough to join us today. He has a BA from Rutgers, wherever that is. But he saw the light, and now he has an MBA from Lehigh, I believe, right? He is a member of the College of Business and Economics staff. He's a director of professional practice of accounting, developed, administers, teaches Biz 5, which is required of all freshmen, I think, in the freshman year,
yeah,
right? And they have to pass it to graduate?
That's correct. All CBE students, that's College of Business and Economics. I'll use that a lot. They must take this course together.
Joe is a director of the Roush Business Center for Business Communications. He's acting associate dean of students, director of undergraduate programs, and without taking any more time from somebody that knows more than Mike and I do about ethics, why don't you take it away, Joe?
All right, thanks, Pete. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's thank you for having me come and speak to you today. Reunion, you know, I get to see Reunion weekend come and go through the years, and it's such an exciting time for me to see reunions coming into campus, because I will know when the tents go up that I will have already had my grades submitted and I finished the semester. And that's always a great feeling. But there's something so great about celebrating our second home, Lehigh University. And one of the things that I find that I'm so fortunate is that I can continue to give back to our home, our university. And I don't believe that today there is anything more important that I can give to our students and our university than the topic of ethics. And the talk that I wanted to present to you today is what I call creating a path to ethics education in business and the College of Business and Economics. This is a fairly new phenomenon. Before the spring 2009, not too long ago.
Can you move to the mic?
Oh, sorry, is this on? Okay. Before, I'm just going to put this back over here. Before 2009, there was no required course of ethics for our business students. And that changed that semester with the release of what we affectionately call Biz 5. Biz 5 is the business course for all College of Business and Economics students. The motivation for this course came from a report that was released from the AACSB, which is the accreditation institution that the business college is accredited under. They released a report of business ethics in education in 2004, and shortly thereafter, all AACSB business colleges started to engage in the conversations and planning of business ethics or business ethics education in business schools. So what I wanted to do is give you a rundown, quickly run down what we do in Biz 5. But what I thought you would really be interested in hearing today is the student's perspective. How has this impacted the students that are in the college, and what is their perception today? And that's what I wanted to share with you after going through a course like this. So right now our enrollment is approximately 300 students for the course, and it's mostly first year students, as Pete said. But every student that receives the degree needs to go through this course. So we do have a mix of some sophomores that might transfer in after their first year, and then some juniors and seniors that may transfer in from other academic institutions, perhaps Rutgers, when they see the light and head west for the good old brown and white. So the logistics are we take the students and break them into 16 sections. So the great thing about the course is we keep them small. We're targeting 18 students per section, maybe 20. And we really are trying to enrich the dialogue between our students and the faculty. Right now, the class meets for 6 weeks. It is a 1-credit course. And the format is mostly class discussion. We do have them do writing. We want them to reflect on the ideas and the concepts that they're reading about in writings, then go back and take a look at what they're reading from their individual perspectives, and then share that back to the class to a broader perspective. I would say Visually, what I tell my students is we're going to try to take your perspective from here and broaden out to here. When it comes to ethical decision making, when you are focused like this, we call it the blind alley. This is very little power. You're very powerless when you are so blind to people influencing you and putting you in a position to make decisions that may not be ethical. And we have evidence, we've seen that unfortunately over the past many years, where too many people in too high places have been forced in that. But if we can go and take your perspective out to here, this is powerful. And that's overall what our mission is, and of course such as this. So some of the thought-provoking things we'll throw on the table for our students to think about is, can the free markets exist in societies that have very low ethical standards? And that's sort of the starting point when we start looking at what does ethics mean to our economic system, to the vitality and growth of the economic system. We'll take a look at decision models and framework, ethical guidelines, and this thing called moral courage. Of course, the ethical guidelines we're instilling in the course to get an ethical perspective from a decision. But also, we bring in this thing called moral courage. You can think through the process of a decision, but there's that thing that's tough to grasp, to get your arms around, and that is, if you don't have moral courage, your ability to follow through and actually make the decision gets eliminated. You only are able to execute and make the decision if you have this thing called moral courage, and we talk about that, and we look at cases where people may have wanted to do the right thing but just didn't. Ethical leadership, taking a look at leaders who may set up a model representation of ethics in business and their leadership and ones that do not. Corporate governance, fraud, and corporate social responsibility are other topics we cover in the course. Some of the key things that we use to demonstrate these concepts, or these learning objectives that I just described to you. Aaron Fierstein, who was the famous CEO of Malden Mills. When Malden Mills burned down, he continued to pay his employees and continued to build here in Massachusetts. WorldCom is one of our fraud cases. We have a second case, Enron, where we make the students watch a movie called The Smartest Guys in the Room. So we're able to get two major fraud cases in there, but we also take a look at Bernie Madoff, the World Savings and Loan crisis, which led to our financial mortgage lending crisis, Milton Friedman and Ben & Jerry's. Milton Friedman, we have a very interesting discussion with regards to his views on corporate social responsibilities and where is corporate social responsibility today and what happened to companies like Ben & Jerry's, Nike, Home Depot, IBM, so on and so forth. So I know that was a quick rundown, but that's generally the gist of the content and the learning objectives, what we deliver in this course. What I really wanted to talk to you about, how much time do I have left? You're doing good. So the real content here is we ask our students several questions at the end of each semester, and we seek their feedback as to what impact did a course like this have on you as a student in your education. And I wanted to share with you their thoughts. So I want to bring the students' feedback to you today. And one of the first set of questions we asked them were learning objective based. We set up these learning objectives, the ones that I just explained to you, and asked them, now that you've taken the course, how important do you think this is? You're a student in the business college. We thought you should learn these things. Do you think it's important to learn these things? So the response that I'm going to read to you, the percentages, were students responded to these questions that this learning objective was either important or very important to their education. And the first question was the nature and relevance of ethical guidelines. How important is that? And they could have said neutral, they could have said not important, or not important at all. 97% of our students said the nature and relevance of ethical guidelines is important or very important to their education. The ability to recognize personal and professional ethical dilemmas. 94% agree that this is important or very important. Understanding the role of ethics and governance in the free markets. 92% agree that this is important or very important. Recognize the role that moral courage plays in making ethical decisions. 95% said that this is important or very important. I think if I had asked those questions prior to 2009, I don't know if I would have gotten even 50% of our students to say that those things were important. So I'm encouraged that so far, the course does seem to be having an impact on those learning objectives. Some of the other things we asked with regards to our content, The readings on WorldCom helped me understand how fraud happened, as well as the ethical dilemmas that can occur in public companies, 96%. This course helped me understand the threat poor ethical decisions have on the existence of the free markets. 90% agreed or strongly agreed with that statement. The course helped me understand the current financial crisis and the lapse of ethical judgment that occurred over many individuals and leaders in business. 91% of our students said that they agree or strongly agree with that statement. And my favorite question that we ask is, this course has changed my understanding of ethical dilemmas and influenced how I will approach making decisions when confronted with ethical dilemmas in the future. 89% of our students agreed or strongly agreed with that statement. So then we asked for them to write down some of their comments. First thing we asked is, what did you like about the course? You'll see two major themes here of what they said they liked. One is awareness. I didn't know, but I know now. And then the other thing is a personal connection with their own lives and ethics that really extends into the workplace. It extends into these corporations. Some of the comments that they wrote, now, it's probably not the most, they were scribbling this, so not the most articulate sentences maybe, but you'll get the ideas. The first comment was, the subject itself is very interesting. Second comment was, learning how common ethical dilemmas are and how pressured you can be to make a bad choice. The ability for me as a student to analyze my own personal ethical dilemmas. Being able to relate this to my own life. It shocked me to see how corrupt people can be. Being able to comprehend and apply all of these ethical values in my life. What else did they like? These things really need to be said. That was just a comment that was written. I enjoyed writing the essays on ethical dilemmas. Now that's a wow factor in and of itself, because how many people see students saying, I love writing papers? I had to really save that one. I don't get that very often. The course was interesting and had good intentions because it is important to be ethical. The focus on defining ethical dilemmas and providing proper and efficient methods and walking someone through the process to make a decision. And I think the student here is saying that they didn't really have a good sense of what to do. And we're trying to help students put together some tools that they can use to analyze decisions. How do you get an ethical perspective? And there's a framework we call, it's the bylaw framework. There's a lot of decision frameworks out there, but how to gather the facts, identify the issues, what are the laws that are involved, what options do you have when you're focused like this, and what are those principles, the ethical guidelines, values, and so forth. So what did they tell us? We asked them, okay, so it's great that you provided us with this feedback, but what do you think for the future? What would you like to see? These are some more comments. I really enjoyed the class and hope it will become a full semester course. More cases can be included. More in-depth look at Milton Friedman. Now, I don't know if they wanted to study Milton Friedman. We did a Milton Friedman video. He's quite an interesting speaker. So I don't know if they wanted more videos or wanted more reading about Milton Friedman, but I thought that was very interesting. The course should take up an entire semester and be worth more credits. If it is at all possible, get ready for this one. If it is at all possible, include an extra class and lecture day. Really? So, wow, I would like to learn more about Bernie Madoff. No, I didn't ask to clarify why he or she wanted to learn more about Bernie Madoff, but I think they think it's at least important to talk about these things. Ethics should be included in every business class. Would love a part 2. I would like to see the class offered for a longer period of time. I think a follow-up course is definitely warranted here. I finished the class wanting more. So that is the voice of our students after going through a course such as this. Yes?
Did you cover anything about whistleblower